to Rhyme City.
I love the design of the city. It looks a lot like the cities in Pokemon Black and White, you know, where it's 3D and the buildings are all kind of rounded and you can almost get lost in it. It's so big.
A celebration of the harmony between humans.
I love the little Charmander running around with his tail.
And Pokemon.
I also love that they put in the animated Gengar and Jigglypuff as these balloons for a parade, because it shows that even in this other Pokemon world that we're now exploring, they have the same pictures and ideas of Pokemon that we do. It's just that the one that we've been seeing for so long is the cartoon version, and in this world it's still the cartoon version, but the real version looks a little different. I like that they added that in there so it's not just changing everything. The Psyduck looks a little bit off. I feel like his eyes should be bigger and maybe less angry. He's supposed to be confused and he looks kind of scary. He reminds me of those, like the stuffed animals from Five Nights at Freddy's. Like the way that their fur just kind of like clumps up and it's almost like a piñata instead of actual fur. It's a little bit creepy, but I'm sure I'll get used to it.
Tim, your touch was a legend in this precinct. If you were anything like your dad.
I love that music. It feels like Pokemon.
I remember. You wanted to be a Pokemon trainer when you were young.
I love that we're being introduced to this new world through this type of character because he's an adult. He used to be idealistic and he used to want to be a Pokemon trainer. It was his dream, but it didn't happen. Everything didn't go the way that he planned. And so now he's a little bit burnt, a little bit cynical, and a little bit done with the world. And honestly, a lot of people are right now. And a lot of Pokemon fans are. A lot of them have, kind of fallen off the rails over the years with each new game and each new update. And a lot of them feel like they're too old for it. They're too old for their dreams. They're too old to feel like that anymore. When they were children, all they wanted to do was be Pokemon trainers, That's all that he pretended to be. That's all they spent their time doing. It was like a kind of idealism and innocence that we're still nostalgic about, but a lot of us don't have it anymore. And none of us have it in the same way that we did when we were kids. This was something that he wanted. He tried so hard, but he didn't get it. And now he's kind of burnt. He's kind of just done with everything, cynical. He's resigned to spend the rest of his life without Pokemon. That reminds me of a lot of Pokemon fans now. Having this type of character can really bring some people back and let them know, hey, Pokemon is for you. Always has been, but here, we'll show you.
Someone there? Whoever you are, know how to use this.
Jeez, here we go.
I love that little hat.
You can't understand me, but put down the stapler or I will electrocute you.
Did you just talk?
Okay, that music right there is important. That's not Pokemon music, that's movie music. I feel like throughout this trailer they just keep constantly reminding us, hey, this is not the Pokemon that you grew up with. This is new. This is bolder. It's a little bit more crude. It's adult. And it's yours. It's like the stuff that you're into now. It's not for children. I think they're really stressing that. And hiring Ryan Reynolds to play Pikachu was definitely, it was a bold move, but it's also a move that proves a point. By choosing him, they're really telling us how this movie's gonna go. Because Ryan Reynolds he has a very specific type of comedy, and they're writing it to appeal to that. You know, it's kind of fourth wall breaking, it's a little bit cynical, it's very sarcastic, sometimes it's rude. It's kind of like the meme generation of Pokemon. And it's good that they're realizing this and they're capitalizing on it, because they would lose out if they didn't. A lot of their fans love this. A lot of their fans loved Deadpool, and they love Ryan Reynolds. And I know that you're going to say, you know, some of that stuff, that's Deadpool, that's not Ryan Reynolds, but it is. And you can tell by how they're writing the character of Pikachu. So I think that's very interesting that they would choose someone who's most well known for an R-rated movie for a Pokemon movie.
Whoa. Did you just understand me?
Oh my god, you can understand me! Stop!
I've been so lonely. They try to talk to me all the time. All they hear is Pika Pika.
You can hear him, right?
Pika Pika! Yeah, Pika Pika Pika, he's adorable.
You're adorable. They can't understand me, kid.
Can no one else hear him?
I love that they make those sounds in the movie. Also, this lady is like so sweet, it's almost pedantic when you know that he can understand her. I love that they have changed it so that the main character can understand Pokemon. We're not sure if he can only understand Pikachu or if he can understand all Pokemon. I'm going to guess that it's just Pikachu. But even then, that's still very interesting. The only time that we saw Ash really understand Pikachu was, I believe, that one time in Pokemon the first movie where he gets hit by a rock or turned into stone or something. He has a concussion and he hears Pikachu talking to him. But canonically that doesn't really count because he was a little bit out of it. So we don't know why this guy can suddenly understand Pikachu. Is it just because Fate's playing a cruel joke on him, or trying to help him, or maybe he got injured? We don't know. But I assume that we're going to find out in the movie. Either way, it is a very interesting insight into the world of Pokemon by having an actual Pokemon talk to us. That's something that we haven't really seen in Pokemon, other than the Park Ranger, Forest Ranger video game. But those were Pokemon talking to other Pokemon, so this is still very different.
I don't need a Pokemon, period.
Then what about a world-class detective?
He's so fluffy!
Is it you want to find your pops? I'm your best bet. We're gonna do this. You and me.
Okay, so there was a lot right there, so let me go back and kind of take that piece by piece.
What about a world-class detective? Because if you
Apparently,
want to find your
Pikachu is a
pops,
detective.
I'm your best bet.
This guy's father is
We're gonna do
missing.
this. You and me.
A whole pack of Bulbasaurs. That is amazing. And you kind of wonder what he's doing carrying Pikachu through a pack of Bulbasaurs and Lanterns, Lumieres, the lamp Pokemon. Can't remember what they're called right now. I love that they're in packs. I love that they're wild, because until now we were kind of seeing just the city side, but we do see it looks like they're going to go on an adventure. They're going to explore the land like you do in the Pokemon games. I find it really interesting that they chose to have these two Pokemon beside each other, because as far as I can remember, we've never seen those two species interact before. They're usually in completely different places. So that was an interesting decision on their part, but I love the designs. The Bulbasaurs are both of those they're just adorable. I love the whole design. It's just so cute. That I would get a plushie of. It's not creepy, it's not too furry. I think it's the fur that's catching a lot of people off. They don't have fur, they're good. Jigglypuff. Oh gosh. I've heard a lot about Jigglypuff. Apparently, this is the most divisive part of the trailer, is Jigglypuff. I can see where people say that he's not very pink, but it is a very dark room, and I think he will be more pink in the sunlight. he's definitely in a mood. He looks very grumpy, but we do see like a second of him being very cute too. I think this matches his personality from the show. I also love that there's an espresso sign behind him, because that means he just went out of his way to be a dick to this guy, because this guy was obviously drinking coffee, trying to stay awake, trying not to fall asleep. He probably had something to do, and he put him right to sleep. I just love that. It's one of my favorite Pokemon, but I feel like he's everyone's favorite Pokemon. One comment that I do want to touch on is people saying that they think he should be hairless. I don't think you understand how weird that would look, how creepy that would look. If it's animated, that's fine. He doesn't have to have hair. But if he was like this color without hair, he would look like Rufus from Kim Possible. He would look like a naked mole rat. And that's something that I don't want to see. He would look like a little hairless baby with like a hair tuft, whatever you call it. I don't think anyone wants to see that, so I'm glad that they gave him some fur. So it looks like we're gonna be seeing some like match fighting. That almost looked like a cage fight, but I'm sure it's some type of gym battle. Looks like we're gonna see battles in the wild too. Maybe Pikachu leads him to the Elite Four, and that's what we're seeing? Guess we'll find out.
It brought us together, and that magic is called hope.
I'm not sure how I feel about them using a car. I would prefer it if he was on a bike. But it makes sense, I guess, if they're going a long ways, and it is a movie. It's not a cartoon, so car it is.
Listen up. We got ways to make you talk. Or mine.
Yeah.
So tell us what we want to know. Fight. Yes. Okay. I can. Shoving. Pushing. My problem is that I push people away and then hate them for leaving.
That's the kind of humor that I'm talking about. My problem is that I push people away and then hate them for leaving. This is Pikachu talking. That's something that Deadpool would say, but this is Pikachu. And somehow it still works, because Pikachu, he was cute in the cartoons and the games, but he was also kind of an asshole sometimes. And you just know if Pikachu could have talked in those TV shows, he would have said some really rude things. He's like the R2-D2 of Pokemon. So it's definitely something I can hear coming out of his mouth. So somehow him saying that, it doesn't pull me out of the moment. It's just funny and it works. And so good for them for making that work. It's hilarious.
I hate them for leaving.
You're saying you can shove it.
What? I can shove it? Okay, that's it. No, we're switching roles. I'm bad cop. You're good cop.
No, we're not.
I loved that part. It made me laugh so hard the first time I saw it, because it's like a double joke. He's a mime, and it's the mime wall, but it's also his attack as a Pokemon. So, it's just so funny. It works really well. Also, Mr. Mime is another one of those where I'm not surprised if he's an asshole. Like, if you think about it, Mr. Mime has pretty much the worst life out of any other Pokemon. Someone saw him and decided, oh, that Pokemon is going to be a house slave for the rest of its life. So he basically spends all day with lonely housewives who let their children go off when they're like 10, doing dishes, and he can't even talk to other Pokemon. I thought that was hilarious because, you know, he's a mime, so jokes, but it kind of makes you feel bad for the guy. He can't even talk to his own kind. He just has to mime everything. Like, that'd be terrible. No wonder he's an ass.
In my head, I saw that differently.
I love that ending with the Charizard just chomping down, and it's almost like you can see every single scale on him. It's so cool. So detailed. They put so much effort into this trailer, and they put a lot of stuff into it that you don't notice the first time around. I mean, they really wanted to show us everything that this movie could be. And if the movie is even half as good as the trailer, it's gonna be really good. So I'm excited. I was terrified to watch this trailer because I thought I was gonna hate it. I pushed it off as long as I possibly could until curiosity got the best of me, and I just wouldn't watch it because I didn't think I'd like it. I thought, I don't want anyone to ruin Pokemon for me. I don't want all of the innocence to be taken away from it, but I feel like they're doing it in a respectful way. It's grown up, but it's not crushing everything that we loved about it. I said this in one of my tweets, but I feel like this movie is gonna be just full of like cynicism, sarcasm, and mean humor. Nothing too fourth wall breaking, but it's the type of writing that they'll use. And I feel like that works. I feel like that's what a lot of the audience that they're aiming for enjoys. It's perfect for the audience that they're trying to build. They're really trying to, after, Pokemon Go was a huge thing, and a lot of people still play it, I think they realized that they needed to step up. They stepped up from kids to teenagers, but now they're trying to step up from teenagers to adults. Because they did lose a lot of their fan base over the years. It seems like with every new game, another group of fans just leave because they're getting old and bored, and every game is the same. This isn't the same. So I feel like this is going to draw a lot of those people back in, and they're going to end up enjoying it again. And that's great, not only for business, but for the community as a whole. It's something that a lot of us can bond over. It's going all in, and I'm so excited to see how it goes, what the reviews are. I don't want to wait till next summer. I want to see this thing now. I'm still pretty weirded out by the realistic looking Pokemon. They're definitely not cuddly. I definitely would not want to buy like stuffed animals of them, but there is a market for that kind of stuff. So I feel like maybe it won't be my kind of thing, but it might be someone else's, and I'm okay with that. I'll stick to buying merch from the animated show, and I'll just watch the movie, and I think I'll enjoy it, and that'll be enough for me. I liked it, and I'm really looking forward to what this new generation of Pokemon has to show us. I feel like it's going to be an adventure for all of us.